Welcome back to Shredcraft RC. I'm Cam and we're back here with part 2 of the SD 2.0 build. I don't know if you guys could tell in the clips there. I drove it on track and the chassis itself felt good. The electronics definitely were leaving something to be desired, and I think I'm going to go ahead and make some changes here and show you kind of how to get these electronics to work together. I got some tips at the track from some guys who had mentioned maybe a glitch buster, but instead I know how I built this, so I know what I need to change. And I think the crawler battery being so heavy with the rear mount ESC and this motor being so far over the rear axle that this thing was super gripped up and super fast with all that weight right there in the battery tray. So I think I'm going to try the 2S shorty packs I have. And then the servo definitely needed to be tuned. The speed was extremely high and the damper setting might have been a little too low. So I'm going to plug that in the computer. I'll show you how I change and update that. And then the ESC settings, I'll show you how I change the Hobbywing 10BL120 on the program box. And then the motor definitely needs to be changed because that is absolutely a 4.5 turn motor, and when I was running it I had to put my endpoints on the throttle all the way down to 40% in order just to have enough, make enough power, because it was making way too much power on polished concrete. So along with those changes, I think that's gonna dynamically change the feeling of this car. Let's dive right in here and get it plugged into the computer, and I'll show you how I kind of change those settings. Servo is plugged in to the computer. Here's the AGF software. Here it brings up the servo information and all the stats. So this is what I've got it to right now. Travel range, servo neutral, so that's your centering. I did that, just put it up to 6 because that centered it. Dampening force, it was down at 190 when I drove it last night, so now I'm going up to 306, see if that makes a difference. The power was all the way up to 91%. I turned that down to 88 to see if that slows it down, and then sensitivity was on high. I went to medium just to see. I may go back up to high, and then basically you would hit right, and then it writes the parameters to the servo. I'll give you confirmation here. So yeah, that is all set up. So we'll move on to getting this ESC on the program box, and I'll show you how I do that. Got the programming card plugged in. Gonna go ahead and turn this on, and then I have the programming chart, and this says it's for the BL60, but I'm pretty sure these are all the same parameters. So we have setting 1, number 2, forward reverse brake. We'll go ahead. So number 2, drag brake. I have it on option 1, so there's 0. Number 3, low voltage cutoff. I'm all the way up at 3.4 volts a cell. Save the batteries. 4, the punch. I'm on number 3, so level 3. Don't want it to just blow the tires off, and with this motor that's a bit of an issue right now. 5, we got 3. So max drag brake force stock 75%. 6 is on 1, so 6, 25%. Max reverse force, that's just so it doesn't slam in reverse. 7, initial brake force, I'm on 1, so it will equal drag brake force. Throttle range, I think is just stock. 8 is number 2, so yeah. And then timing, this is your boost. So your end timing, I am on number 4, which is 11.25 degrees, and you can go all the way up to 26.25 degrees. So I think with a different motor I could probably play more with that. along with playing with punch. So those are going to be your two kind of turbo and boost settings on the 10BL 120. So those are my settings right now. I think I'm going to start thinking about another motor and see if that makes this any better. Catch you on the next clip. Alright, so I had to give the car another chance because the motor wasn't good, and I just picked up this Yokomo 0S 10.5 turn censored brushless motor. Definitely more of a drift motor compared to what I had in here. Other than that, the ESC is still the original 10BL 120, and I saw some questions of people saying get the G2. This has all the same functions as that ESC. The only difference is the other one has a different BEC output, which isn't a problem for drifting. You're actually, what I've been told is to run your drift servos only at 6 volts. It's not speed and power you're looking for, but smoothness and accuracy with your servos. And on that, the tune that I threw on that AGFRC B44 servo felt really good with the dampener pushed up there. And then again, the gyro paired with that servo feels really nice, just as good as my higher end electronics. So this car felt really good, and I saw some questions of people asking if I would pick this over the RDX, and I think Nizo's Bad Shop pretty much explained it perfectly. That this car is an excellent value for the money, and if the RDX is available, it is also a great value for the money. So if you got to choose between the two, I guess what he said is what I agree with after driving this and the RDX back to back is if the RDX is available, get the RDX. If the SD or RD 2.0 is available, get the RD 2.0. Other things that I did last night just to kind of play is I dove into checking the rear camber, and I put that right about 2 degrees, negative 2 degrees. And then on the front, I took some of the toe out more, and then reduced some of the camber. I think I had it up almost above negative 10 degrees, so I brought that back down to about 10. And then I put the Shorty 2S battery in, and that reducing some of that weight back there definitely felt a lot better. So if I had any gripes against this, it would be that it feels like the front end is still pretty light. So what I'd like to do is maybe play with the servo positioning, because I have the servo in the back hole, and then maybe if I can push the servo up just a little bit, see if this angle will be reduced with a different servo horn. And probably since I don't have the front bumper mount with the body post, there's not a lot of weight hanging over the front axle. These are pretty small magnets on plastic servo mounts that I put through the shock tower here. So overall, I put this car on the scales. I think it was 1100-ish grams, maybe 1150, so it's pretty light. And I think this motor is light, and this ESC is light, way lighter than my AccuVance electronics. The diff felt good, the rear end felt really good. This thing is fast, it's got lots of power. Now with that motor, it feels manageable power, I should say. Going to the next episode, maybe we'll start looking at some upgrades, but I think I want to start with tuning this chassis first because everything feels really good. Like, you don't need to update these shocks right away. I think they'll work, but tuning just the chassis and seeing how much we can get out of it, because in those clips I'm driving with modified RDXs, MC1s, and high-end Yokomos, so seeing how this is a fraction of the price and it drove just as good, I can only recommend it, and I'm not going to steer you away from it. Next episode we'll tune. I also want you guys to pick the body, so I went through the shop at scale. These are the bodies that they have available, and you got to support your local hobby shops. So I'm going to make a poll. I want you guys to vote. I'll kind of pick the bodies and make a list of what's available, and then that will be an episode, is painting, designing, fitting, how to mount a body on one of these, and designing a livery. So be sure to let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and hit that thumbs up button if you like what you see. Be sure to subscribe for more, and the Rookie Drift 2.0 will begin its evolution into a sweet rear-wheel drive RC drift car. Another question, last thing. Let me know if we should do all Yokomo parts on the Yokomo car and all ReveD parts on the ReveD car. Let me know down below, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.